Wowee! Oh, here. There we go. Now your butt's in full view. Right, buddy? Hello, everybody. Welcome to Houston with a Problem. It's a regular Monday show. It is day 3 of Shiny Shirt Week, and just look how shiny this is. I'm a miserable failure because I can't remember who sent this one to me. I think it was either Michael Mystery or Andrew Stewart who sent this one. I can't remember. So whoever it is, raise your hand because this one is glorious. It's just got just great texture to it. Oh, I love it. It's so shiny. Yeah, day 3 of Shiny Shirt Week. Hope you're all wearing your shiny shirts at home and making your dreary November that much brighter. So, what we got going on? We got a couple of things. One, BBBYQ has shown up back into the search algorithms of like Schwab and other major brokers. It's not quite searchable yet on Fidelity, but if you previously had BBBYQ as on your watch list, it suddenly appeared again. So things are happening. So cool. Any other stuff since last night? Folks are suggesting that we do the GME does like a $1.2 billion stock buyback, which would basically buy up the entire float except for 2 million shares at the current price, and cause a massive short squeeze on their stock, which would be hilarious. What else is happening, monkey? Anything? That's happening. So, cool. You. Off. Everything else off? Everything else off. All right, cool. They're all off. Yeah, laid on me. Bill Coin last. No, you weren't. You were first, my man. BW Brand was second. Ludicrous Speed, Houston. Love all the new intros. I think the one with the bowls is my favorite. The other nighttime intro, that's a good one. Yes. The shit show intro I did last night, Alexander, who made it for me, he purchased the rights to the song that's used in it. And then I got a copyright strike against me, so I had to file an appeal and show like, yes, this has been purchased. This is the confirmation order for that purchase. Oops. So hopefully my channel won't get kicked off. Derek Kohler's birthday is the 16th. Am I getting a present? BBYQ. Let's hope, man. Let's get that loaf. 15th is the new day everyone's predicting, right? We'll see if that happens. I don't know. I think today and tomorrow and the day after that, that's when we should expect things. And the day after that. And if that doesn't happen, then the day after that. So here we are. Congrats whoever got some GME under $12. Yeah, GME got hammered down 5% today. This tells me the shorts are desperate again. Because the last time you saw shorting like this was when they were about to get F'd in the A. So, bring it, baby. Bring it. I don't get paid until Monday. So, I can't participate until Monday. but, I'll see what we can do. Carlos Bencianas. If BBYQ is already at $0, why is there more shills than ever before? Will that mean we are all millionaires? Also, do you know anything about P-Track? I know nothing about P-Track. I don't know what that is. P-T-R-A-Q. As your first part, the fact that shills are still out there and the meltdowners are in full force and they keep showing up into my DMs, into our subreddits, into Twitter and all these other things. Why? Why are you spending all of your valuable time on a stock that supposedly doesn't exist anymore and will never trade again? Why would you bother? Why would you even, take that on as a hobby? Don't you have other things? Don't you have things you could do that involve like making money? I mean, if you're short the stock, I totally get it. You're going to try and level that playing field as best you can. But these guys all insist like, oh no, I'm neither short nor long. I just like laughing at you. What a weird way to spend your time. Like, there's way more entertaining things to do and things that are more productive to society and yourself. So that's your excuse. You're just there to have some good laughs. All right. But yes, P-track. What the hell is P-track? P-track. I wrote O-track. Oops, P-track. Proterra Incorporated. It's at 7 cents. Went from 3 cents to 7 cents today. Was an American electric vehicle and powertrain manufacturer based in Burlingame, California. Company designs, manufactures battery electric transit buses. They're the bus guys. They're the bus guys that went under. I remember them from 10 months ago or so when they were going toast. I don't see anything news-wise as to why it would go to 7 cents today. Nothing's popping up at any rate. So, yeah. See what comes of it. They built a lot. They had contracts for a lot of city bus networks and stuff. And part of the bankruptcy, if I remember correctly, was trying to figure out how to honor those contracts and still get those buses while they're being vaporized. Because I don't know if they're restructuring. Are they restructuring or are they? Let's see here. Chapter 11. So they're restructuring. All right. Okay. Mid-November 2023, first of two bankruptcy proceedings, Volvo Group placed a winning $210 million bid for Proterra's business unit, which builds batteries and drive chains. So it looks like Volvo is buying Proterra, and they'll be continuing the construction on all those contracts. So it's set to take place today. Interesting. Okay. Well, there you go. The news you can use. Volvo is buying it. SJ's here. It's Liddy. Hello, Houston. Good afternoon, chat. Alexander K. If we were wrong, people wouldn't be trying so hard to convince us that we were wrong. They just wouldn't care. Ah, yes. Wrong, right? Just S1 me, baby. When S1, not a clue. Warriors here, and they got a little kangaroo. It's Liddy. Any tinfoilers on Rite Aid? You think it'll be grouped with the butterfly? If I remember correctly, I think this might be the last week to get in before they recall shares similar to Bobby. I don't know. I haven't had any ammunition to do anything with Rite Aid, so if you guys are in there, best of luck. It seems like the rumors are that this is the same legal teams working on Rite Aid as worked on Bobby, and that ICANN may be someone in there. It's really interesting because they do have a parent company, like the private equity guys that own Walgreens own Rite Aid, and they bought Bartell's and a couple other groups that are all scooped up in there. So we'll see where that goes. Ludicrous Speed, here's a little money to get Chalupa Batman a treat, something low fat. Oh, Chalupa Batman is feeling wonderful today. I just overdosed him on steroids last night, and all of a sudden he's acting totally normal again. So I may have to used to be steroid him every third day, and now I might have to steroid him every day. That little guy was just struggling last night. So about 2:30 in the morning, I just shoved steroids in him, and all of a sudden he's chipper as ever. I'm also throwing in 2.5 milligrams of Zyrtec because that's about what a cat can get in case he has allergies compounding his asthma. And looks like it's working today. He only coughed once that I saw, so that's good. And he's playing with the kitten again and running around and making noise. So yay. Dimitri Maximoff on the long drive home. Yes, thank you. Boz Mang, Houston. How many shares do you have of BBBY? What's your selling point? What number makes your balls tickle? I have a little over 15,000 shares. I have no plans to sell until it is cajillions. I mean, a couple $100, I could retire on that. It would be pretty much living as I do now, just without having to work. But No, I think if this thing is a squeeze potential, it's going to go to thousands and thousands and thousands. And if it can reach 1,000, it can reach 10,000. It can reach 10,000, reach 100,000. That's basically the way I feel. And there's a lot of folks who are trapped in DRS and won't be able to sell because the system that Equinity and AST uses is they do a market sale once a week. So basically, you've infinity pooled your shares. You're not going to be able to participate in this, and it will be people in the brokerages who will get to do whatever it is they do, unless everything moves to a blockchain. That might be different. That might be different for everyone. But yeah, I want fuck you money out of this, because why not? If I'm good enough to retire, I might as well have enough to like retire everybody in my family. And then we can just like charter sailboats and sail the 7 seas and have a great time. Right, Monkey Butt? You love the water. She does not love the water. C. Houston. First you rock. And do you think holding out past $100 is possible for BBYQ Butterfly if it is allowed to trade again, or will they only allow it to be sold no FOMO? Like I just said, I think $100 is setting the bar really, really low on this. You have possibly upwards of 5 billion shares that are shorted. You have hundreds of thousands, if not a million retail investors who a whole bunch of them have DRS'd a appreciable amount of the float, and then be stuck and never be able to sell. So there's an infinity pool going that's an accidental infinity pool, but it's pretty significant. And if these shorts are at the point where they're getting liquidated to buy, then the trading computers are buying at any price it possibly can to just close this thing out as fast as possible. And we are in an ideal situation where you name your price, set your limit order as high as you like, and there's a chance somewhere in there there'll be no market orders filling. Everything will be scooped up for the lower tiers of the level 2s. And there'll be this shining example of something for gajillions of dollars for their share. And the computer will just buy it because it's the only thing available, and they're trying to close this out as fast as possible. So that's what I got my fingers crossed for. Among 50 other things to happen between now and then. Kelly Reed, Kevin Malone, stats according to SEC ownership filings. If GameStop uses $1.2 billion in cash to repurchase its shares, there would only be 2 million shares left in the float and 67 million shares shorted. That they admit to. 67 million that they admit to. So that is an interesting stat right there. Because there's a lot more. It's all self-reporting. They don't yet have the required reporting of short positions yet. That will happen in March? So we are that's self-reported. 67 million shares short, self-reported. So yeah, they can do some wondrous things. They can do the share buyback, authorizes resale, make way more than 1.2 billion back on that by selling just a couple of million shares, and they'd be golden. Red Lightsaber, hey, just want to say thank you for doing these shows and answering the same questions constantly. It's always fun to listen to. You're welcome. Walker Rats, how rich do you think I'll be with my 122,000? Didn't you ask that yesterday? Or someone else asked that around 115,000 shares. You're golden, dude. I wish I had that many. Oh, I mean, let's think about it. $10, you're a millionaire. $100, you are a significant multimillionaire. $1,000, you've got generational wealth and then some. $10,000, you're a billionaire. So, Walker Rats, if this thing squeezes, you're fine. If it doesn't squeeze, well, you're in the same boat as the rest of us, and we're going to be going, oh, well, that didn't work out. Tax write-off time. Lisasa. Hi, Houston. January 6th Capitol rioter, QAnon shaman guy, and the furry hat and horns to run for Congress. What's his campaign going to be? I'm forcefully medicated by the court? Because he is insane. He is certifiably bonkers and needs lots of therapy and medication. Beaver Brand, reading that makes my stomach turn. Scott Pollen, Walker, stop asking the same question over and over. Also, no chance you have 120,000 shares. Stop LARPing in the chat. Scott Pollen, GameStop only has 100 million allocated for share buybacks, and Kevin is kind of a doofus. Well, I could buy back $100 million at this point. Could buy back 10 million shares. And it's not that significant, but it's a good chunk. It's late. Because someone correct me if I'm wrong, but can you still run for an elected seat as a felon but not vote? Depends on the state. Some states don't allow felons to vote. Other states do if they are out of prison and whatnot. You can run for office, federal office though, as a complete wackadoodle felon. You can even run for office from prison. Lyndon LaRouche did that back in the 80s. He was sharing a cell with it's one of those TV evangelical guys. Jim Baker, maybe? No, not Jim Baker. Tammy Faye Baker's husband. Was that Jim Baker? Not Secretary of State Jim Baker. Tammy Faye Baker husband. It's Jim Baker. Okay, I think it was Jim Baker that Lyndon LaRouche. Jim Baker. Yes, Jim Baker and Lyndon LaRouche shared a jail cell. Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. And he ran for president. He garnered less than a fraction of a percent of the votes, but he ran for president from prison. And he was in prison for using campaign funds to buy a $35 million thoroughbred horse breeding operation, if I remember correctly. But I'm here to tamp down on corruption. So that's what you can still run for president from prison. And you I guess theoretically you could, if you win, you could pardon yourself if you're charged federally. But the problem with Trump is that he's been charged with felonies in 2 states, and the federal government cannot pardon those. The governors can. So the Republican governor in Georgia could pardon him, but I doubt the Democratic governor in New York would pardon him. So regardless, he's stuck. And once you're in prison, it's going to be really hard to do fundraisers and have access to your internet and, massage your cult followers. There's a course of chat reset right off the bat. Okay. BTW brand. House members must be at least 25 years old, have been a U.S. citizen for at least 7 years, and live in the state they represent. Only requirements. Yep. Dan Harris, hard to believe you're on 383. It seems like just yesterday when you hit 300. Doesn't it? Doesn't it seem like it was 300 just a couple weeks ago? But that's like several hundred days ago, probably. Mark Wood, yo chatters, let's hope for a great couple of hours sharing info with Houston Wade. Let's hope. Tony Moses is here. Moo Pullen, what's your current prediction of BBYQ, blockchain, equity distribution, back to OTC, FINRA, corrupt, etc.? There's a couple of options. And regardless of if there is equity in multiple companies, let's just say it's just one. It's just BBYQ is back, baby, better than ever. They could file and say, hey, we won't be back on the NASDAQ, and start trading the OTC for a couple weeks until they get back on the NASDAQ. With that, they could offer, they could do share buyback prices. They could do share offering prices. They can offer cash equity for shareholders and some sort of payoff from a merger, which could set a floor price for that thing and cause it to rocket in the OTC long before it ever gets to the back to the NASDAQ. They could move it to blockchain immediately. Be like, hey, it's on the blockchain now. Good luck. But that still leaves a boatload of nakeds that won't be on the blockchain, right? Like if you're on a non-fungible blockchain and the stock is there, then people who are registered, bam, they're in it. People who happen to have the shares, real shares in their account, they're in it. Everyone else has naked shares. What do the shorts do at that point? Do they have to go onto the blockchain and buy them in order to replace the shares in those accounts? Do those shares trade in the OTC until they're bought up? I don't know. Do they say, hey, we're going to be on the OTC for 2 weeks and then we're going to blockchain. So you have to close everything you have before we're in the blockchain. They could do that. I don't know. I mean, there's probably 5 really diabolical options they could do, and I mean the lamest one, which I don't think they'll do, is they just like start trading again at 7 cents, and they're like, we're back, and that's it. They don't do any other little tricks and plays and FUs to the short hedge funds, which I think is the least likely. Like, why would you spend this much time, effort, and money and not really stick it to the hedge funds and market makers? I think there's going to be something more diabolical, and we just twiddle them thumbs, waiting to see what it is. Owen Saunders, hey pal, you still hold Acme shares? I do, but I can't talk about it. Jose Rosario, compared to the obscene amount of favorable intel thus far, where does this going private garbage stand? I mean, they could go out and they could buy up everyone's shares at $12 and just drain hedge funds of $50 billion or so dollars, right? Okay. Maybe $60 billion. That doesn't, it needs to be a 1-2 punch. That's just a jab to the face, and the hedge funds can recover from that. You need something that's a little more diabolical than just buying the shares and going private. You need to offer equity that has to be closed, and they'll force the price to go. So if you offer cash, cool, but offer with equity and let that sucker explode. Maybe you offer cash, like, hey, we're going to offer equity in Teddy, but we're going to buy up your shares, and that's going to become Bye Bye Baby or something. I don't know. And that might be one way they do it. So that now, all of a sudden on the market are these Teddy shares, brand new, and they've opted to be squozed like crazy. But I don't think the company is going to go private without offering equity in other forms. That just isn't a 1-2 punch, and we're thinking diabolical. So my hopium says, meh. Suljo, Houston, I can transfer stocks from broker to broker. I don't like TradeStation that much. Thank you. Can I transfer stocks from broker to broker? Yes, you can. You can trade stocks. I don't know anything about TradeStation. Where are they based? TradeStation. It's parent company, online securities, futures broker, trading technology companies, Plantation, Florida. So if you're in America, you should be able to. They also have offices in London, Sydney, and Costa Rica. Money Group Incorporated. Yeah, I know nothing about TradeStation. So, but if you're a broker in the U.S., you have to allow transferring from brokerage to brokerage. So if you don't like TradeStation, transfer out. Find somebody you do like. Gara, what do you think of the BOJ will do with the U.S. Japan is over? U.S. dollar Japan is over $150. We're talking about the USD Japanese yen. What is USD to yen? 151 yen to the dollar. That's decently high. When I was a kid, it was like 450 to the dollar. It was insane back in the 80s. The exchange rate. It was not too long ago. It was close to parity. About it was 2011. Japanese yen was really strong. 77 yen to the dollar, which is basically strong. Back to 85. 85 was 252. So I guess it was 250 when I was a kid. I thought it was like 400 when I was a kid. And so I was in Japan in 89. And 89, it was 140? Could have sworn it was exchange rate is better than that. Like, I was buying sodas for like 20 cents US in Japan. My dad would give me 1,000 yen, which I guess was like $15. You go to work, and Japan was safe, so a 9-year-old could just wander around Japan. And up the street there was a building, and it had a McDonald's on one side and an arcade on the other. And so for $15, I'd get a Happy Meal with a little toy, and I'd eat the Happy Meal, and then I could go and I could play at the arcade for like probably an hour and a half with what was left, and play all sorts of games you would never see in the US. And half of them I had no idea what was going on because everything was in Japanese. So I was just be in some machine that would move around while I was flying, which was awesome. And then I'd walk home, and my stepmom would have lunch for us, and we'd do that. But yeah, exchange rate seemed really strong then. But it's right back up where it was in the 80s. It's the highest it's been since, so it's 151 right now. So that's the highest it has been since August 1990. The highest it's been since August 1990. Interesting. That's a lot. Wait, what was it here? To 144. Okay, 144.98. So yes, that's going to bode well for Japanese manufacturing because the prices just got really good for everybody. But what does Bank of Japan do? I don't know. Japan's had a stagnant economy for 25 years now. Since the 97 Asian economic crisis, one of Japan's problems is that people save money too well. Their savings ratio is insane. They have like $50,000 a person saved in the bank. Like everybody saves and doesn't spend like they should. And Japan's been trying to figure out for years how to get these people how to spend. The problem is that their population is really, really old. Like over 20% of the population is senior citizen, which the oldest state in the US is Florida, and 12% of the population is senior citizen. So Japan's age is really, really old. So a lot of the jobs that must be done are jobs to take care of old people. So if you're going to have a manufacturing sector, you need a whole bunch of young, strong people to work in manufacturing. But if those young, strong people have to go into elderly care instead, then you have a dearth of people who can work in manufacturing. So the solution is bring in workers, bring in immigrants. But Japan is, well, they're kind of racist. they don't want very many people who aren't Japanese coming to the country, but they aren't breeding enough Japanese people to make up for it. There's weird video game incel kids who will never have contact with another human being, and they're not producing anybody. And the women see their options out there are just a bunch of weirdo video game nerds, and they're like, I'm not having sex with that. So the population is in serious decline. So how is Japan going to deal with that if they're not going to accept mass immigration from around the world? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe just become a banking and tourist state, and old people all die off, and they're just ghost towns everywhere. I don't know. Honestly, don't know. Markwood blinding me. This is such a good shirt. Oh man, it's so shiny. Italy, that shirt gives New Orleans Saints vibes. It does. It's almost like the Fur Elise, right? That's what the New Orleans Saint thing is called. Michael, missed your hand up. So it was you. I knew it was one of you. Guts for the long term. How lucky you're alive. Andrew Stewart, Houston. Can you please explain what happens when gold and mercury mix? How do you separate the gold back out? Toxically. So old school ways of doing it. You're separating gold via sluice box, which is the easiest, cheapest way to do it. Very efficient. You run your gravel material, your ground up rock, whatever, over a sluice box. And the sluice box, if it has riffles, like, those little riffly things, the water runs over it, creates a low pressure eddy, which sucks the heavy stuff down, and all the light stuff keeps washing over with the water pressure. So the gold gets trapped behind each one of these riffles. You can create a mercury table that does the same thing, where mercury is slightly less dense than gold. So it floats on top of gold. If you were to have two molten pools of it, it would float on top of gold. So what happens is the material goes over this mercury. The water pressure is not enough to blast the mercury out of there generally. And the gold sinks underneath the mercury, and all the other gravels float on top of the mercury and wash away. And what you do is, what the old-timey guys would do is sometimes they would reach their hand in the mercury and pull out chunks of gold. Or they would boil off the mercury. They'd pour all the mercury into a pot and boil it all off. So just poisonous mercury gas goes in the atmosphere and goes off behind. Another favorite way they would do it is they would take the mercury and inject it into a potato and then char the potato in a campfire until it was just black, and that was it. And then they would smash up the carbon bits of what was left of that potato and then pan it out in a gold pan and get all their gold out of that. So those are the traditional methods of getting gold out of mercury. All of them are super toxic and result in a lot of methyl mercury and ethyl mercury being created. Methyl mercury is the one. Methyl mercury is the toxic one. Methyl mercury versus ethyl mercury. I can't remember which one is which. Oh, methyl mercury is the bad one. So ethyl mercury is what you'll find in vaccines because your body breaks that down and expels the mercury out. Methyl mercury is the one that stays in your body forever. That's the poisonous one, and that's the one that like. Prior to humans looking for gold, there wasn't very much mercury in the food chain. Just didn't happen. But since humans started looking for gold, the mercury ends up in river systems, becomes methyl mercury, flows out to the ocean, gets stuck in like little feeder fish get eaten by bigger fish, those bigger fish get eaten by bigger fish, and the mercury just pools up in the large fish, and then we go out and we catch those large fish and we eat them, we get their mercury in us. So if you eat a lot of large predator fish, a lot of tuna, you're going to get poisoned by mercury eventually. My little sister had this tiny little cat named Simba, and she was so tiny. She was like 3 pounds fully grown, just this tiniest little thing. And my dad loved this cat, and as a treat would feed it like a can of tuna a day. So this tiny little cat, in a few short years, died of mercury poisoning, and it was horrific. And I was telling him you shouldn't be feeding the cat tuna, but he's like, but it likes tuna. And so yeah, my dad killed my sister's cat with mercury poisoning by feeding it an entire can of tuna a day, and it just pooled up inside that cat, and she just became a shaky nervous system freakazoid. And don't do that. Don't feed your animals cans of tuna a day. Don't, as a person, eat a can of tuna a day. Do not. The mercury in your body will skyrocket like crazy. Tuna once a month, cool. Go out to sushi every once in a while, totally fine. Don't eat tuna every single day of your life. You will shake yourself to death, and that'll be it. So don't be like my dad. Learn a lesson from that. And tuna as a little treat for a little kitty once a year, twice a year, something like that. Not every day. The cat does not need 6 ounces of tuna every single day. Dog butthole. All right. Joshua bought some August 24th BBY bonds today. How much you pay for them, Joshua? I have not looked since last week, but some people were getting those bonds for like 6 cents on the dollar. Not too shabby. Park Life, my broker keeps referring to my BBYQ stock as worthless stock. Which is it? It is worthless because we don't want that stock. We want the new stock that will be coming. So when they call it worthless, they mean don't trade it because it's going to cease to exist when we give new stock over. So that's largely what it means. There's a pretty cool post someone made not great. I have to find it now. I think it was on PP Show, if I remember correctly. Of course, I just go home. There it is. Okay. It was the playbook Holly Etlin and company use when dealing with a bankruptcy like this. Where are you? This hearing canceled. No, not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that. Nope, not that one. Where are you? Ah, here we go. Here's the one. Boom. 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 Okay, so this is High Bets posted this to the PP Show a few hours ago. This is sort of the playbook from PwC. How How do I scroll when I'm not on my phone? How do I make this go to the next one? I have no idea. View post. View post. There we go. There we go. All right. So, don't load chat, you ding dong. Okay, so this talks about how you're going to deal with taxes and bankruptcy like this. And basically everything in this playbook is you zero out the shares, you offer new equity, the shareholders get at least 50% of it, the creditors accept equity, the other 50%, and then everybody gets to have the nulls, and everything's happily ever after. It's a nice little read. They cite the rules and everything in there. And this is apparently the playbook that Holly Etlin uses when she is in charge of being a badass. So I'll throw this link in the chat. Bam, bam. And you guys can click on it and read it. But it's everything we've said. Like everything. That Company A emerged from bankruptcy, Merchant A qualifies for fresh start reporting, assume following facts. That, they have new equity, blah, blah, blah. Carry over the nulls. It's pretty awesome. And they say all the rules and all the regulations involved and how a company reemerges with, creditors fulfilled with getting equity, and then they get to benefit from the nulls, and shareholders still having their equity, at least 50% of it, in the new company. So it's delicious. It's what we all need to have. For a second there, I was worried I was going to intro, and I didn't because I remember to turn them off. Whew. Get the heart rate up there already. Why, Tyler? Houston. Can't wait to go skiing with you, pal. At Crystal, Whistler, Hood, Bachelor, Japan, whenever we can get our skis on. Man. Oh. My little sister skied Japan last year. My friends Eric and Kat, who I visited in Switzerland, they spent a year living in a season living in Japan, in Hokkaido, skiing, and they just describe it as the best snow they've ever seen in their entire life. And I want some Japao. Give me some Japao. I would love to ski in sushi. That'd be great. Joseph Lee, just check BBYQ's on Fidelity. It's not searchable yet, but if you had it on your watch list, it appears. So that's the new thing that's changed. Ludwig Vladimir Dorner, Houston. If MOAS and the other mother of all crashes is happening at the same time, why is Michael Burry only positioned in the latter this time? I don't know. I mean, you can't win them all, right? Win one or the other. You'd have to ask him. Well, I don't know if he'll answer you. He's kind of a weirdo. And he's super racist. Oh my gosh. That's the most disgusting thing to find out about Michael Burry is just how unapologetically racist he is. So, he's a great indicator as to what may happen in the market, but as a person to envy, he's incredibly racist. He blocked me on Twitter after I pointed out he made a really racist post. I was like, hey bud, that's super racist. And he was like, nah. But so you can look at the plays he's making, just don't be like him. Okay. Is it factory? Currently, people get paid by hedgies to pay attention to me after the squeeze. I'm going to be so lonely with my dolphin statue and piles of cash. That's true. The shills are, at least they'll give you attention, right? And when the hedge funds are all blasted away, who are you going to have coming after you now? It's going to be gold diggers. So, Mupulin, who holds authority over mainframe trading computers when the hedge funds have to cover? Is it FINRA, DTCC? Who's to potentially hack in favor of them saving their own asses? Well, come in, fat guy. Show everybody that you're happy and healthy. There you go. Look at you. Not wheezing. Isn't that just great? Oh, so glad you're feeling better. Okay. Who controls the computers? Depends on who's doing the buying. If we're at a stage where liquidation's happening and there's probably brokers doing the liquidating, right? Prime brokers also doing liquidating. They're doing the liquidating, and their computers are the ones doing the buying. If the prime brokers run out of cash, it will likely be DTCC computers doing the buying with whatever is the insurance policy, the giant pool of, in case she hits the fan, money that everyone has to pay into as members, or the other clearing houses. So like Fidelity is its own clearinghouse. JP Morgan's become its own clearinghouse. So they have to have money set aside for those things as well. It'll be interesting to see what all happens with that, because while Fidelity is its own clearinghouse, they also are the broker for very large hedge funds and market makers who are members of the DTCC. So I'm not sure where it will all go, but broker trade computers, DTCC computers, prime broker computers, those things will be doing a lot of the buying. But who's to potentially hack it all in favor of them saving their own asses? Russia? I don't know. Did base. Got ourselves coordinates. Hell yeah, brother. Let's coordinate. Google Earth. Yeah. We're still in Reykjavik. Reykjavik. Boom. Boom. Where we going? Where we going? Slap. Where's that, like Missouri? Where are we? Are we in the Ozarks? We got a lake. We got a whole bunch of docks. Big dicks halfway in. Big dicks halfway in. You guys ever listen to this Australian guy called Kevin Bloody Wilson? And he writes just the most vulgar songs. And he has a song about the Dickens family. And the Dickens family own an orchard and they make cider. And everyone loves Dickens cider. Big dicks halfway in. That's a good place to rent out from OS. How about that? Is this the Ozarks? It looks like it could be the Ozarks. Where are we? We are Missouri. Yeah, this is the Ozarks, baby. So, you guys want to go to Big Dick's halfway in and grab some chicken wings or something? I'm gonna write that one down. Where's my pen? There we go. Okay, that, if anything, is worth going to just get a t-shirt. I like it. There's an old tweet that was like, every French beach town has a cafe called Le Nautilus, and every American beach town has a place called, Uncle Jimmy's shuck and fuck, beach boner hotel. This fits. All right. Big Dick doesn't have that many parking spots for the halfway in, but hey, what do they serve here? There's Big Dick's. You guys can't see it. I can see it on my end. There's a photograph. All right. Google Earth off. Big Dick's halfway in. BigDicksHalfwayIn.com. Home of the original minnow shot. Big Dick's Lake of the Ozarks. Dick butt. He's got a whole front butt on him of his nards. They serve pizza. They got burgers. Looks like a decent burger. Kind of melty. Looks like it's got queso on it. What's that? Fajitas. So dictators. Big Dick's favorite. Tater skins. Porcopinos. Wings. Of course they got wings. You have to have wings at a place like that. Spicy pickle fries. Do they have fried pickles? That's my favorite thing in the entire world. Dick's Wicked Balls. Okay. You got some salads. Turkey wrap, buffalo chicken wrap, braised chicken wrap, Dick's burger, a whole bunch of burgers, crispy fish, street tacos, ooh, Hawaiian shrimp. There you go. Little Dick's meals. For, your little Dick's. Pizza. Big Dick's got a chest on him, doesn't he? With them nards. Okay, there we go. Don't forget to visit Big Dick's Damn Near Inn on the Lake Ozark Strip. Most fun gift shop on the lake. Okay. Looks like I got a reason to go visit the Ozarks right there. Big Dick's halfway in. I love it. Thank you, Dead Base. Thank you. Thank you for that. You've made my day. It's factory. If the government forces a specific price on a stock, not financial advice, do you think it will be a uniform price or different based on market cap? Probably based on market cap, be my guess. Or it may just be like $1,000 for all these shares. If you want to trade them in, that's what you get them for. You won't get anything else. I don't know. So we'll have to see if and when that happens. Yeah. Lone Wolf, what I understand is why do they care either way? Exactly. Why do the shills care either way? If you don't have if you're so certain, if you're so absolutely certain that the Bed Bath & Beyond play was the wrong thing to do, why didn't you put your money where your mouth is and short it? Right? I ask the guys this all the time. They come into my DMs, they're like, show me your gain porn, loser. I'm like, show me your loss porn. I'm not short or long on this stock. I'm like, so you're just doing this for free? Like, you didn't have the balls to short this thing? Like, how pathetic is that? What a pathetic loser you must be. Don't even have the stones, the confidence of your convictions, right? To short this thing if you were just so certain. If you're so certain this is a dead play, then why don't you act like it's a dead play and put your money there? If it's free money, dude. Free money as far as you're concerned, and you didn't have the stones to do it? No Labs up 6.4% today. Hot damn. No Labs can't rock it yet. I need a payout so I can buy like 80 bajillion shares, and then they can rock it. Cowboy Denson Homer, GME pounded down below $12. They were hammered hard. Cameron Mirza, Saturday, November 18th, Bye Bye Baby is back. They're celebrating an opening. I also saw job openings for stores in like Temecula, California, and others. So they're going to have a very wide distribution network. Based in New Jersey, they're going to have 11 stores, but they're going to have one in Temecula. Interesting. Somebody asked me to go take a look at the Bed Bath & Beyond in Tukwila. I don't know when I'll ever be able to make it over to Tukwila, because apparently it's a store that hasn't sold, and it's the site of the subsidiary here, TK Butterfly 38 or whatever it is. So I've not had a chance. If anyone has a chance to go by Tukwila and take a look at what the Bed Bath & Beyond is looking like there, let us know. Anonymous Bloomer, I created a Reddit account, send you a message for Blue Sky Code. Yes, I'll get you a Blue Sky Code. I was supposed to do that before I went on the show, and then I didn't. So I'm on the computer. I'm going to do it after the show. I'll send you, and a couple other people. I think Sam O responded, and then someone else responded, but they didn't tell me who they are, so I can't verify if they're one on the list or not. It's you know why No Lab's been trending up lately. My guess is they have a hell of a bunch of amazing big deal board members on there, and those big deal board members bring a lot of gravitas to the stock, which is scaring some shorts. And so some shorts are probably getting out, realizing that FDA approval is around the corner on this thing finally. So remember, FDA approval, the stock will fly, absolutely fly. If they get approved to be the sole non-invasive glucose monitor in the entire world, everyone who's diabetic is going to want it. And every insurance company is going to pay for it because it's going to be cheaper and result in fewer complications because you're going to have up-to-date, real-time monitoring of people's blood glucose levels. So there's no chance of them going hyperglycemic, no chance of diabetic comas, problems with circulation drop a lot, so there's less amputations you got to deal with for extremities. It's going to be a big deal. Elegantly wasted. They took my shares on Webull, been holding for over a year. Call Webull and yell at them, ask to talk to their compliance officer, because Webull did one of the penny for the lot crap. And the DTCC letter did not say penny for the lot. It just said, withdraw them from the market. They're worthless. That's it. pending reorganization. So if they gave you penny for the lot and they cannot promise you that you will get your equity back if there's new equity returned, you're going to want that on tape or in recorded in a message, and you're gonna probably want to use that as a class action against Webull to vaporize them or own their brokerage. So if you are one of the penny for the lot people, demand to talk to the compliance officer and get them on tape either admitting yes, you'll have access to new equity if it's issued, or no, the shares are gone forever. You get nothing even if new equity is issued because we paid you a penny for it. And he's like, cool, I'm going to pass that along to my attorneys and we're going to class action the shit out of you. And you guys will cease to exist because you violated the letter that was sent by DTCC. So if you guys are one of those crappy apps that did that, I suggest calling the compliance officer and having a shit fit. Hazel A. Hey, Houston, I started getting emails from Bed Bath & Beyond advertising again, but nothing back in my Fidelity account. That Bed Bath & Beyond is Overstock. Overstock.com bought the IP, they bought the website, and they have renamed themselves Bed Bath & Beyond. So the emails we're getting are from Overstock. Bed Bath & Beyond stock, the original BBYQ, is now Butterfly. It is not Bed Bath & Beyond anymore. So that's what you're getting. Coffee Notes and Homer, are you teaching classes at the college anymore? Not at the moment. I stopped teaching at the Film Institute. During COVID, it was fine. It was online, no travel involved. While we were like coming out of the pandemic, I would teach 1 day a week for a couple hours. So I could mask up, teach 1 day a week in the classroom. The pay was never that good. It was like $2,000 per class per quarter. Not that great. But it was something to do. And then when we came out of the pandemic fully and masks weren't required anymore and stuff, they're like, hey, can you teach this class and come like 4 days a week? And I did the math and I was like, no. Like it's an hour and a half to commute there, right? I teach the class for an hour and it's an hour and a half to commute back. So there is 4 hours of my day minimum going to and from the school 4 days a week. So 16 hours a week spent commuting and teaching total to make $2,000 over 3 months. No, especially when, commuting is, you're looking at $10 ferry ticket plus, $5 for the bus there and back. Cause by the time class is over, the transfer is expired. So I'm looking at $15 a day commuting. So 4 days, that's $60, $75 a week being spent commuting. Let's just do the math here. Let's look at let's figure out why Houston's not teaching. Oops, wrong one. Chrome off, calculator on. Okay, so it's quarters, 12 weeks? So 12 times 75. That's $900 in commuting. They're paying me $2,000. So it's almost half of what they're paying me I'm spending on just getting to the college, plus the 3 hours a day that I got to spend not getting paid going there and back. So I told them, I was like, hey, if you pay me like the community college pays me and pay me $5,000 for teach one class, I'll totally do it. And they're like, oh, no. I'm like, okay, then make it 1 day a week or online. And they're like, absolutely not. I'm like, then cool. Good luck finding somebody to teach that for you. But I'm not going to spend $900 of the $2,000 you're paying me just to get to school and then lose 4 hours of my day every day. So they're like, but okay, good luck finding someone, man. So like when I teach it at the community college, I think it's like $5,500 per class per quarter. Plus they pay for my commute. They pay for the bus and the ferry. So I don't have to pay for that. And that's okay. That saves me $900 in commuting costs right there. So it's as if, cool, I get all the $5,500 that they're paying for that one class. So, but the community college only asked me to teach in the spring, and I teach their basically their second quarter of astronomy, so the deep space astronomy portion. And then every once in a while, in the summers, they've asked me to teach like not quite intro to physics. It's like a physical science class, kind of like what you get like freshman year of high school. So a refresher 100 level. This is how science works type thing. So there you go. That's not currently teaching at the moment. I do this. I spend a few hours a week at my friend's restaurant, and I walk the dog. That's what I do. Some big breaths over there, Monkey. What's going on? Okay, where am I? Yogi 2012, 50K Acme parent company shares. Am I rich? Not at the moment. I don't know what's going on with them, and I can't really comment on it until another 4 months or so. 4.5 months. 4.5 months or so. I can comment on it. It's 4.5 months from now. So like end of March, I can comment on it. All right. Love Stars, I have 0 shares of GME or AMC. I have 0 shares of AMC now. I got rid of all of them before everything just went to shit with those guys. And I barely made a profit after holding for 2.5 years. Should have sold when it was 77. Oh well. Zia Trades. My next degen play has been WeWork. Kirkland being involved intrigued me enough, at least as a quick trade. It's interesting, like, so SoftBank, which is a huge conglomerate and telecom company and all sorts of stuff, they own a majority of WeWork shares, and they're really hurting. They are hurting. Their hedge fund Tiger had a $17 billion loss last year, like the largest loss of a hedge fund ever, and they're just not doing so well. They are invested in a satellite play like SpaceX doing Starlink. They're preparing to launch their own like 10,000 satellite network for everybody, which may pay off for them in the end. It's gonna be very expensive to do, and who knows with the way the Japanese economy is going if they're gonna have the cash to actually do it. But WeWork is an interesting play. Problem with WeWork is it's almost all leases. So they have like 700 leases that they, in long term, like 15, 20-year leases that they signed on to right before 2020, when everyone's like, I'm going to work from home. So in bankruptcy, they claim they're looking at jettisoning like 70 of these leases. That does not seem like enough. Man, so much of what companies do these days are leases and not purchases. And like, I can understand if what you need is just a storefront and something, but if you need like major buildings and lots of office space, and you know you're going to sublet this, then why not purchase it? Take out a loan and purchase it rather than take out a loan and lease it. And that way, you at least, if shit's a fan, you at least have equity. So many of these companies used to do that. Used to when I was with the Art Institute was a massive real estate holder in major metropolitan areas all over the country, and they were worth billions. They had campuses in all these downtowns all over the country, and they owned the land under it, they owned the buildings, and they were worth billions. And what Goldman Sachs did when they took over is the first thing they did is they liquidated all of that real estate and then paid themselves huge bonuses. Now the real estate was being used as collateral for the huge loans that the school had gotten, right? To like for operation expenses. And then when they sold off the real estate, the collateral was like no longer there. And then all the cash went to the executives who like took the golden parachutes and floated on down from their towers. And so when the shit the fan and they're like, oh man, we're releasing all this stuff back. It's really expensive. We're gonna have to cut some stuff. Their plan for cutting things was like, let's lay off some teachers. Well, your business model is the teachers teach classes you sell. So if you lay off the teachers, you don't have the teacher available to teach the class, which means people can't take the class, which means people don't pay for the class. And then you make even less money because people can't graduate. And then you get in trouble with the federal government and the Department of Education because people aren't graduating and they're paying you $40,000 a year to go to your school. And then you get put on watch lists and all sorts of problems. And eventually each of these campuses, which used to have 3,000 to 5,000 students, now have a few hundred students. And you went from making, $80 million a year at each one of these campuses to like losing $20 million a year because now you're paying $600,000 in rent to rent out these spaces that you're using that you used to own and sublease to other people. The building in Seattle, let's Google Earth it again. Google Earth. Boink. Okay, we're gonna leave big dicks here. And fly across the country. Up the coast. So, okay. This is Pier 66 here. The World Trade Center. This is the World Trade Center for Seattle. And then this building was the Art Institute of Seattle. They own this entire building. And the parking garage, it was a 5-tiered parking garage where it was $30 to park per day. So you're looking at thousands and thousands and thousands of parking spots where everyone is paying $30 a day to park there. I don't know, 2,000-3,000 parking spots maybe in that garage. It was insane. It's huge. And so you're looking at like hundreds of thousands of dollars a day potentially that parking garage can make you. It's nuts. They owned this building here, and they owned this little building here. So this is actually, this building got torn down and whatever. And then they owned this entire building here, this whole thing. This Zulily was here. Real Networks was here. Zulu is still here. So we have like some like large companies, tech companies based in here. And the Art Institute only needed, they used the top floor of this building and the bottom floor of this side of the building. And everything else was like Zulily and other corporate tech giants. This building, this piece of property today, $200 million, right? You are across the water across the street from waterfront. You've got amazing views of the Olympic Mountains. Let's see what kind of views we can get if we zoom in here. Well, I can't really show you the Olympic Mountains here. Got a little bit. You can see some of the mountains off there, but the sunsets are incredible. It is absolutely just a phenomenal location. Beautiful breezes, boats going by, absolutely beyond lovely for this space. So in 2012, at the absolute bottom of the market, we're talking like you cannot sell anything to save your life. The vice president of the Art Institutes signed a deal to sell this building, this multi-$100 million building, for $12 million. Now, the college was making $6 million a year renting to Zulily and Real Networks and the other businesses that were in this structure. They're making $6 million a year. So in 2 years, you make $12 million. He sold the building for that much and then leased our 2 floors back for $600,000 a year. So rather than making $6 million a year, we're now losing $600,000 on that. Great job. Guess how much he paid himself in a bonus and then retired? $12 million. He's out. He's gone. This other building here with the giant parking garage, they sold for $8 million. There's a parking garage that has the potential to earn like $100,000 a day. Well, how much? It's got 2,000 parking spots. $60,000 a day. $60,000 a day is what they could earn on that sucker 5 days a week for parking in the city. So, quick calculator, 60, 1, 2, 3 times 5 times. So they could do $15 million a year maximum on that parking garage. Let's say it's half full. It's not all the way full. So they're doing $8 million a year on that parking garage. They sold this entire building for $8 million, which is what they were earning basically off the parking garage. And then they leased it back for, I think it was like $450,000 a year. So rather than making $8 million a year, you sold it for $8 million and you leased it back for 400 something thousand. And now you're losing $400,000 on that. And you go, oh man, we just lost $12 million in revenue. Oh, buddy. Oh, we're losing $12 million a year. I guess we got to cut some classes. So they'd fire some teachers. And then those teachers would teach things like, some of them were like the only person in the entire world who could teach that class. Like one of the guys was an industrial designer who specialized in like carbon 3D printing and stuff, like things you just won't find somebody with a master's degree doing. And they laid them off, and you like left. And then like, oh, our industrial design students can't graduate because they need this class to graduate. I'm like, yeah, you fired the guy. The only person in the world could teach that class, he's gone. And now, what are you going to do? They're not going to graduate. So now they're going to transfer out of your school. So you just lost, this world-renowned department. We were internationally ranked, like top 10 industrial design school in the world before they started laying everybody off. It's ridiculous. It's what these business bros do all the time. So if you're looking at a company, and the company, like their business is, we have to be in this spot and only this spot, and we can't really be anywhere else. Why aren't they investing their money in owning the land underneath them? Because it saves money in the long run, and you have equity. And so if you need it, yeah, you can sell the land, whatever, or you can borrow against it. And it bothers me. It bothers me the AMC Theaters only leases their theater buildings, right? Like, it's all leases. They don't own any of them. Your business is selling movie tickets to theaters. So why, if you know you need those theaters, why are you leasing them from somebody? Why is somebody making a profit off of you when they could just own the theater, right? They could own and operate the theater, but no, they're just leasing you that space, and they're making way more money than you are. You spend, what, $4 billion a year on leases? That's $4 billion a year you could have in equity going into every single one of those properties. You could build your own theaters. You can buy the land when someone's doing a development and build the theater and own it. And then anything that you have is going to be equity. So if you imagine, how many theaters does AMC control now? It's like 10,000 screens or something. $10,500 screens, 950 theaters. Okay. 950 theaters for this. Let's calculator time. Google Earth, turn off. Calculator back. Okay, so they have 950 screens. 950 screens. No, 950 theaters. Let's say each one of those theaters is worth $5 million. There's $4.75 billion in equity right there. That is almost as much as their debt is right now, and their debt is at $5 billion because of the leases, right? So why don't they just use their debt to buy the theaters, and then they won't owe on the leases, which is eating up their profit? It'd be contributing to their equity as a company. If you want to be a multi-tiered company that has other avenues than one commodity, such as going to the theater that could be affected by, economic plays, strikes, coronavirus, pandemics, etc., then at least have the equity in the land that you have to use for your business. It's something I've never really understood. Like, if you're a Spirit Halloween, yeah, you don't need to own the building. You're just going to jump in there. You're going to lease it for a couple of months, be out on November 1st, and then you don't have to do any leases for another 11 months. It's a very weird thing. And some of the theaters that they're in, like, they're probably $50 million theaters, right? So that $4.75 billion is probably just do an average on that one. I don't know. I just ramble. It always pisses me off when companies that should be owning the land they're in just lease it. Like, if you expect to go bankrupt, yeah, lease it, whatever. You're done, whatever. But if you want to be a long-term company, a lot of times just buy the land, get the equity, move on. And it makes it a lot harder for folks to short you when you have that much equity. Now, hostile takeovers can happen. That can always happen. They can jump in, do a leverage buyout, take you over, and just sell everything off and be like, hey, I just made $4 billion, and they're out. But then you just, lobby the government to make sure that stuff like that can't happen as easily anymore. All right, where am I? What am I doing? What's happening? Patty MJ, you won a Blue Sky code. So message me, send me a DM on Reddit, and I'll get you your Blue Sky code. Houston, my broker was late disappearing the shares of BBYQ, but now they have, and the code next to the action is defunct. I can't seem to find what that means. DFNCT. I think it means defunct. So that's what I would believe. But yeah, the shares are defunct because we're hopefully awaiting new equity. Jay Shady, Jim Baker, the Buckets guy. Yep. Fleecing, going to prison. Oh crap. Of course, the chat reset again. Gotta go all the way back. I am an hour behind, of course, because that's what we do around here. First Night Productions, if Mr. X is shorting GME, AMC, BBY, and Mr. X gets margin called and is being liquidated, how does that affect his other short positions? If you're being liquidated, you're closing out all of your short positions. So that's everything rockets. The whole basket rockets, right, Monkey? Oh yeah, what's that? You got something stuck in your nose, dude. That's gross. What's on your nose? What's on your nose? Ugh. Wipe it off in your head. Okay. Looked like a leaf. You had a leaf stuck in your nose. Oh, you're thinking it's time. It's not time yet. It's 3:40. Maybe like 30 minutes. It'll be time. Right? Yeah, not yet. You're not yet. Okay. Trend. Now this shirt is what a millionaire wears on a Monday. Millionaire Monday, right here. You need Cuban cigars to go with that shirt. I got you. Jay Webb, interested in P-Track. Also, I think tomorrow buyer may be announced for non-battery side of business. Stephen Whitney Jr., good day, Houston. Assuming BBYQ becomes tradable again, what are your thoughts on the other meme stocks within the basket, i.e. GME, AMC? I only have a few other BBYQ shares. I only have very few BBYQ, but more in others. I think everything rockets. My thinking also is that if everything rockets, Adam Aaron will sell 400 million shares on the market to try and drive the price down as best he can for his buddies. So I would not look at AMC having the $1 million price tags on shares as they potentially could have had Adam Aaron not suck so much. But yeah, GME rockets, cost rockets, Ader rockets, Experian rockets, Expert rockets, sorry. All those weed stocks that were short in the basket, they also probably rocket. Nokia, BlackBerry, right, Monkey? Those ones all rocket too. Everything in the basket just goes pew, and a whole bunch of shares we never heard of probably rocket as well. We talked about, I was on the gist my first time. Talked about like there being a retired couple in Kentucky who in their 401k is like 10,000 shares of some defunct lawnmower company. And all of a sudden, they're millionaires as a result of the short squeeze happening, and those shares having to be closed out, and everything just going. I think it's across the board, man. Trey Spider bought another 25 GME shares today. Get it, buddy. Hersher von Erland. Was the infinity pool a hedge fund tactic? Well, I mean, maybe. Maybe. But the infinity pool is the idea is these are shares that will never get sold. So if there's a MOAS, it'll be impossible to close out all the shares because these ones will never be sold. And so there'll be more shares than what is in the float stuck in the infinity pool, jacking the price of everything else that's there. That's kind of the theory behind it. Hersher von Erlen, because some of the DD writers in GameStop, Pwn BBQ said Infinity Pool. Now I know she was a plant. Pwn, she's a terrible human being. Absolutely. Just, she talked to everyone about like what a math wizard she is, and then she was really bad at math. And then she would steal other people's DD and then yell at them, claiming they stole her DD. And then I don't know if you ever saw the video of her absolutely blindingly drunk, getting in a gnarly crash accident. It was like national news. Her crash accident was so spectacular. But yeah, she's she's a garbage person. And was one of those folks that like was trying to come on my show, but I didn't know she was trying to come on my show. She like sent me messages. I didn't see them in my request file folder. And all of a sudden was like, Houston Wade's an asshole. And then was like relentless and then hung out with my stalker. So, yeah, on her. Lady, go to rehab. Trey Spider, how much money is ICANN worth? 20 billion, 25 billion, somewhere around there. Khalik Brown, show the receipt that you donated to the charity so I can start donating. I don't get the money. It's done through YouTube. YouTube has a program where I select a charity that they've approved. So the charities have to be a registered 501c3, and they have to apply to YouTube to be a member of their charity program. And then when I set up a show, I can click, this is for a fundraiser, and then select the charities that they have. And so when you donate to the charity, it goes straight through YouTube to the charity with nothing taken out. YouTube doesn't garnish it. Like if you send me super chats, YouTube takes like 30% of it. But when it's charity Tuesday, when I do a charity show, they don't take anything. It goes all 100% to the charity. And then you get emailed a little receipt that you can use for your taxes that you donated to this charity on that specific date. That's how it works. Space Monkey, what's up, my favorite left-wing whack job? Not much. Hanging out. Suljo, can they flood the market with synthetic shares to stop MOAS? No. Because all that does is increase liability. And if the if the market makers and the hedge funds are being liquidated, they have no power. They're literally their entire outfit gets taken over by their prime broker, and they have no ability to short anything, to sell shares that don't exist. They cannot function as a company anymore. They are losing every asset they have, and the money from those assets are being used to buy up our shares. So no, they can't flood the market with synthetic shares at that point. First Day Productions. Did you know the Minnesota Vikings' new quarterback Dobbs is a rocket scientist? I called him our pastronaut. Yes, I heard that that's what he studied. He's a physics dude. So right on. Finding people in college sports who were able to study the sciences is phenomenal. Like when I played baseball in college, my coach literally sat me down. He was like, "Look, Houston, I know you have labs on Wednesday, and we've practice on Wednesday, and you show up late to practice on Wednesday. So I'm wondering if like changing your major to something that didn't have labs might be better for the team." And I was like, "Fuck you, buddy. Like when I'm done playing baseball here, I have to have a career, and I'm not going to become like a business major or a psych major just so, this middling baseball team I'm on can enjoy my Wednesday practices an extra half an hour. Like I'm a pitcher. I throw 60 pitches. I go for a run. My day is done. That's all I do. Every once in a while, I've got some fielding practice. That's it." I had a friend who she was in my class in high school. She's 6'3", beautiful bombshell. And she was a rower. She had never rowed in her entire life, went to UW. The coach was like, "You're huge. I want you to be a rower." She was like, "Okay." So she started rowing for the UW team. The UW team has won the national championships multiple times over the past 100 years for women. Just absolutely just a killer row team. And she set world records as basically the strongest woman in existence. They had these rowing machines, erg times. She could row faster than any woman who's ever lived. The strongest woman on the planet. And she'd won 2 national championships with this team. Her junior year, she's starting to get into her she's I think she was majoring in like biochemistry or something. So she has a whole bunch of labs for these like upper division chemistry courses and biology courses she's taking, which is, make it so that she can't show up to practice on time some days. And her coach was like, "I need you to quit. I need you to like quit the science crap and be rowing full time." And her response was, "You just lost the strongest woman who's ever lived, and I'm no longer going to row for your team." Because what are her options in rowing? Like, yeah, she's a walk-on. She might have some scholarship money as a walk-on, but it's not enough to pay for all of her schooling. And yeah, she could probably go to the Olympics and spend thousands upon thousands of dollars a year training for the Olympics and make no money out of it? Because who's a famous rower you've heard of? No one. She's not gonna be on like a box of Wheaties out of it. So she's like, look, either I get to continue my degree and you get to still have the strongest rower who's ever existed, or I'm going to quit rowing because fuck you. And the coach was like, oh, and so she quit rowing. So the fact that dude is able to finish his degree in rocket science and play Division I football is hats off, my man. Way to go. So, yeah. So, Joe, don't take this the wrong way, Houston. I love you, buddy. Thanks for all the info it takes. To edge off, I'm breathing easier now. You're the man. Okay. Hey, I'm not going to take that the wrong way. Monkey might, though. Are you taking it the wrong way, Monkey? She won't stop staring at me. I think I may have to. Stinky chicken time. Stinky chicken time, buddy. Oh, so stinky. Oh, it's so stinky. But it smells like deliciousness, doesn't it, Monkey? Want your stinky chicken? Get up here and get your stinky chicken. Get your stinky chicken. There you go. Now you're happy. All right. Snurtlert. Oh, Houston, please can you elaborate a little bit on the potential reverse split for the dollar after MOAS? Huh? So like the US dollar does a reverse split? We go, okay. $1 US, every $10 becomes $1 or something. Oh, there's the coughing. Buddy, I thought we were over this. Oh. Yeah, cough it up. Cough it up. You're okay. Good? Get out of you. Get out of you. Get that phlegm out of you, bud. All right. Oh, poor little guy. Can't give you any more drugs. I want to overdose you on steroids, dude. It's probably not the best thing in the world. So, fight through it, bud. Fight through it. Would they do a reverse dollar split? The last country I heard about doing something like that was when Mexico did it with the peso back in the late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere around there. When parity got way too off the dollar, they just did kind of reverse split. India recently, they got rid of all their really small denominations and all their really large denominations. Part of it was due to inflation. Part of it was to make it harder for graft to happen. Because if you've got to like pay somebody off in 1 rupee notes, it's really hard versus paying them off in like 10,000 rupee notes. So that's one thing there. Has anyone else done something like that as of late? Can't think of anyone. If you guys know, let me know. Yeah. Jose Rosario, do you think Starlink will trap us on Earth? The potential for that is greater with the more satellites we put up there. It's called a Kessler event. Is the potentiality of being trapped on Earth for the next forever? Monkey butt. Leave the cat alone. He's not feeling well. Kitty, you want to come up here? Want to come up here? Get away from that awful dog. Come up here, do some cattail karaoke. Cattail karaoke. Check 1, check 2. I'll stay in my lap. Just stay in my lap, buddy. Stay right there. Yeah, stay right there. So a Kessler event is the movie Gravity is kind of based on a Kessler event where you have an impact in space and it sends out debris in all sorts of directions. But that debris is traveling between like 17,000 and 20,000 miles an hour. And so the amount of momentum in like a piece of scrap, little nut, screw, whatever, flying, a computer chip flying off of one of those satellites at 17,000 miles an hour, if it hits another one, it will obliterate the next satellite, which creates even more debris. And so you get this chain reaction that happens at all sorts of levels throughout low Earth orbit, basically making so it's nothing but ballistic junk flying around. It's unchartable at tens of thousands of miles an hour. And so if you try to launch anything to space, it's just going to get ripped to shreds like a machine gun and contribute to that. It will take 5 to 10,000 years for those pieces that are in low Earth orbit to decay and fall into our atmosphere, making it safe again for us to launch things into space. So yes, the potentiality of these thousands upon thousands upon thousands of satellites being launched by SpaceX. I know Blue Origin's planning on doing it. SoftBank's planning on doing it for communications. Leads to a much higher increase of the fact of having a Kessler event take over and trapping us on the surface of the Earth. Basically, we go back to like World War II tech, but with computers. Everything had to be landlines. We would eventually lose our ability to monitor the weather, because eventually our geosynchronous satellites that are doing weather stuff, direct TV, those things would die. Their batteries give out, their electronics fail, their gyroscopes fail, so they drop out of orbit. And imagine what life is like when you don't know what weather systems are coming because you can't see them, right? Like right now, I can go to the National Hurricane Center. I can see a satellite image of where storms are building in the Atlantic, and potentiality for tracking those through, if they're going to hit the Caribbean, East Coast of the United States, Texas, whatever. Like the reason why the storms that hit in the 1920s in Texas and Florida were so bad and killed so many tens of thousands of people is because they had no idea they were coming. There was no satellite saying, hey, Galveston, get out. There's a storm that's going to hit you in a couple of days. They didn't know. They're like, oh, it's a lovely, still day. It's great. And then the next night, they get hit with a hurricane and 20,000 people drown. That is the future we could look at, because we would have no idea. Ships, GPS navigation, gone. So there goes our ability to like figure out where the hell we are. We have to go back to paper maps, and I don't even know how to read paper maps. Ships trying to avoid storms in the ocean, so it create giant risk for shipping companies. Militaries would have all sorts of weird problems. You would lose your bird's eye view of so much. It truly just would mess us up big time. Trend about 2010, 100,000 yen was like $1,000. Was able to pick up guitars from Japan that sold for like 5,000 here. It was a good time. There you go. Wa beef. It's been 3 years since January 2021, and the retail awakening to the market shenanigans. I hope all chat investors also are learning solid investing and trading stats while responsibly betting on MOAS. Exactly. I have my retirement fund. My like, in case all else fails, I still have the hundreds of dollars a month I send into my retirement account. I just don't think about it. It just goes in there, does its thing, whatever, right? Because while I would love to quickly retire with a BBYQ squeeze or GME squeeze or whatever, I have to also slowly figure out how to get there if that doesn't happen. And I recommend it. I've told this sort of parable before, but in the summertime when I was young, my mom would throw myself and my sisters in the Datsun B210 station wagon, and we hit the road. We go camping for like 3 weeks. Down Oregon coast, Washington coast, hit all the national parks. Be gone for like 3 weeks. We'd always see hitchhikers. And granted, our car was full of children and camping gear, so we're not picking up hitchhikers. But I asked Mom, like, what are people doing? Because they got their thumbs out. And she's like, they're hitchhiking. I'm like, what's that? I'm 5. I don't know what hitchhiking is. She's like, oh, well, you stick your thumb out and you walk on the road. Somebody may come by and pick you up and give you a ride to where you need to go. I was like, oh. And she's like, it can be dangerous. So I don't recommend hitchhiking or picking up hitchhikers because, things happen. But my rule is only pick up hitchhikers if they're walking. Don't pick up hitchhikers that are just sitting there with their thumb out, because they can't. The type of person who expects a ride is not the type of person you want to pick up. You want the person who's got a plan B, and they'll walk and get there eventually, right? Like, yeah, maybe I'll get a ride, cool, but I got to have a plan B to get to this spot in case nobody gives me a ride. So she's like, oh, if you're going to pick up hitchhikers, only pick up the hitchhiker who's walking. So, like, yeah, hope there might be a MOAS and work towards it and do what you can to get that lotto ticket, but don't expect it to be your only play. Hedge your bet. Do something that's long-term as well. And, maybe you'll be retire age 60 if nothing plays out the way you think it will. That dog kicked you off that bed and then did not take the bed over. So get back in there, kitty. There you go. So that's life lessons from Houston's mom. Honestly, shade, I'm betting on tech renaissance in Japan within the next 10 years. They are the forefront of practical robots and vending machines, so they'll have something for us. Titleist. Okay, so there is our community that believes in all these stock theories. Are there similar communities that I just don't know don't know because I don't follow? Probably. It's like Rule 34. If you can think of it, there's porn for it. I'm sure if you can think of it, there's a community for it out there. Just bodies, even the socially adjusted people in Japan literally don't have time to form romantic relationships because they're just dying at work. Yeah, my little sister's health, when she took a job in Japan, crashed. But she was working 100 hours a week, wasn't eating healthy, was basically being worked to death for not that great a pay. And came back to the U.S., took a job with a company that's based out of Australia, but here in the U.S., and all of a sudden, she's working like, rather than 100 hours a week, she's working 35 hours a week and getting paid more. And she's like, this is incredible. Like kind of doing the same job. And she felt like she was actually accomplishing more because her brain wasn't so broken because she was like sleeping and getting rest. And she felt like all of a sudden her productivity level was up. It's like 35 hours a week getting paid more versus 100 hours a week getting paid dog shit and your health is failing. Like you're gonna pick the 35 hours a week and getting paid more every time. So she loved being in Japan because she thought Japan was really cool, and she's half Japanese herself. But the health wise, they worked her too much. It was like, chill out, baby. Just Bodies. I just read that one. Country is really cooked. Is there a ticker for Toys R Us? My broker's on the list is Toys R Us, Toy RF, right? That's the Australian one. That's the only ticker I know of. Picklepotamus, GameStop earnings coming up soon. December 6th, I believe it was, is what I saw yesterday. Antonio Baez, what's the probability of BBYQ hitting 6 digits in a short squeeze, Houston? I think greater than 0. I would love that. That would put me in the $1 billion range. I'm sure that peak, when a short squeeze happens, there's going to be some weird numbers at the tippy top of that peak. Because of the way the trading computers behave. We talked about before, during the sneeze, there are people who sold fractional shares in GME for the equivalent of $5,000 a share. Even though the share price peak was like $480, there were fractional shares that sold for the equivalent of $5,000. So there will be people who put one share as a YOLO shot just to see what they can get, and they may get it at freakish prices if the trading computers have taken over and a short squeeze is full effect. So, I think the chances are definitely greater than 0 that someone's gonna walk away with that. Now, is someone gonna sell, 50,000 shares at $100,000 a share? I doubt that many would sell at that price. But hey, if you can do it, more power to you, man. Become that billionaire. Get it. It's 4:04. I got 26 minutes. All right. Trey Spider, Houston, why don't they make an amendment that says you can't run for president if you are convicted of a crime? Because it is so hard to get an amendment done in the first place that I don't know if anyone would bother doing it. Because, you have to get it supermajority, like 3/4 of the Senate and the House, then the president sign it, and then you have to have 3/4 of the states to ratify it. And in this case, if it is something that would keep Trump from running, good luck getting red states to sign on board with that. They probably won't do it. So, yeah. Warrior, I love hearing you explain your speculation theories again and again and again. Awesome. And everything else is pure entertainment. Well, people come in, they ask me what I think, and I was like, 15 minutes ago, I just did this. Yesterday, I just did this. But people need it over and over and over again, so I will do it over and over and over again. Daphne, just check Schwab, and yes, BBYQ is searchable with a $7.89 price. Boom. Gira, I'm thinking Bank of Japan will have to end up selling U.S. treasuries in order to defend the yen against hyperinflation. Will that work, though? That's the question. Because if they sell off U.S. treasuries, that increases the dollar supply out there, I guess. And that would cause inflation for U.S. Cash, I guess is the thing. And that would benefit. But I think Japan's biggest problem is that they don't have enough people anymore and they've got too much currency. The population shrink. And there's as much currency now as there ever was. So you need more people in your country spending more of your dollars to take some of that up. And they've got so much savings. Oh my gosh. Peruvian Bull is a good thread regarding this. Word. DJ picked up 2,000 shares of Rite Aid because of my Neanderthal genetics. All right. Joshua, I can tell you one thing, and that is I overpaid. I got $50,000 face value for $454. It says my average is 90 cents. Dang. There you go. That's for your BBY bonds. Zoo, oh my god, dude with nub. McRib is back. Ugh. I read something that was so accurate. It was like, the McRib, they only offer it every few years so that your brain forgets if it's good or not. And then you order it and you go, yeah, this is terrible. So, ugh. Og, you love the shiny shirt, one of my favorites. I'm partial to monochromatic and those colors suit you. Earth tones are your colors. Maybe, but I'm partial to bright colors. I am a peacock. I'm a bird of paradise. Salt Bay Caldy needs some of the excess gold foil from your shirt to put on some of their steaks. Oh, DJ. All right. Stevie Hagen, I tried to place order on Schwab, denied because symbol is not recognized. You can't get an order if you're trying to get BBYQ. It's not tradable, but it is searchable. P. Longsock, have you checked how the carry trade affect the market? The carry trade effect? Carry trade can be simplified down to borrowing a currency in a region that has low interest rates for the use of buying currency in a region that has high interest rates. I've never looked into that, but a great way to get arbitrage, right? Interesting. All right. I've never bothered looking into that. And there's all sorts of currency traders that do weird arbitrage stuff all the time. Like, you know, Canada is limiting their interest rates, right? They're talking about, we're going to keep interest at 5%. And the U.S. is doing high interest rates right now. So you'd borrow in Canada in Canadian dollars and then use those dollars to buy American dollars, which are stronger. And if the Canadian has inflation, you can earn a higher interest rate in America. You can go back and pay off your loan and have a profit. Neat little trick. I like that. Dick Insider is a classic. It's a good song. Kevin Bloody Wilson's hilarious. Except he's one of those guys who's like got old. He's like, you can't say anything anymore. And then he gets all weird and bitter, kind of like Dave Chappelle. And like all of a sudden, like, you're not being funny. Just be funny, dude. If you're funny, people will like it. If you start complaining about how you can't be funny anymore, you're not allowed to be funny, then you're not being funny and no one's going to laugh. So his old stuff, hilarious. Big Dick's in. Heck, Big Dick's halfway in. Moas party. Hell yeah. SS Houston, do you think brokers can be trusted to actually pay out 7 figures? Well, they're going to have to, right? If they want the shares, and that's what the agreed share price was, they're going to have to pay it out. They can't like, when it comes time to close, take your share from you and not give you your money. That's illegal. So they can't do that. The entire purpose of closing and having a clearinghouse is that money goes one way, share goes the other, everything's honky dory. So yeah, they're gonna have to pay you out if you, regardless of what the sums are, because they took money from the liquidators, and that money's got to go to you. Why Chalupa on steroids? He's got asthma, really bad asthma. Yeah, prednisone is what he's on. And he was having attacks this week, and it made me think, because like the prednisone wasn't doing anything. And so what I started doing is I got Zyrtec, little kitty-sized Zyrtec, and I crushed that up with his steroid, and I gave it to him in his food. And that seemed to do it. So he's had that one little cough attack, but before he was like he wouldn't stop. He was just all weekend, and I was worried that little kitty was gonna choke to death. So I thought he had like bronchitis or something. But he's doing all right. He's happy. He's playing with the kitten this morning, which is all you could ask for. He wasn't doing it this weekend. Chalupa on steroids, definitely on Taco Bell menu. He's a beefy boy because of the steroids. You believe me. Hillionaire, did RC screw over the apes? I don't think so. We'll find out. If it turns out we don't get any equity back in Bed Bath & Beyond and RC's behind this whole thing, then yeah, he screwed over the apes. But I don't think that's his MO. I don't think this is a play that's profit driven. I think this is a play that's revenge driven. This is a revenge play. And profit is secondary to it. What they want to do is they want to destroy the bad actor market makers and destroy the short hedge funds. And the only way you do that is shareholders maintaining equity. Because then shorts have to close. And if shorts have to close, it costs them a fortune and you destroy them. So that's the play. Steve Whitney, Houston. BBYQ does squeeze. What are your thoughts on the other meme stocks? Well, we talked about that already. The whole basket goes, man. Evan Honko, how do you explain that BBYQ DRS shares are trapped and not sell? We have a whole bunch of folks that submitted their DRS, transferred it into DRS to AST, and they've had no confirmation. It's been like 8 weeks. So going on 2 months since they tried to transfer. They have no confirmation. If they have no confirmation, they have no ability to even contact AST and be like, hey, sell my shares or don't sell my shares. So they're stuck in like an accidental infinity pool. The rest of folks, I think ComputerShare is the only one that allows you to like set limit orders and stuff. The other DRS, direct register transfer agents, they do once a week at the market sales. So you tell them like, hey, I want to sell my shares, and they put it in this bundle, and then like on Friday, they sell them all at whatever the market price is. So you don't get to name your own price. So a lot of those folks, they may like, oh, I want to sell this, and maybe the squeeze is going bonkers, but the squeeze ends on a Wednesday, right? It's over. They bought all the shares they need, and these folks, all their shares get sold for meh on a Friday, 2 days after the squeeze is over. Things will... It's a pain in the butt. It's a real pain in the butt. Ruler's Odd Legacy channel. Is this live? Yes, this is live. Trent DeGiro Europe sold all our shares when we went to OTC, then bought them back at the OTC price. So everyone now has a cost average of 11 cents or something, and DeGiro won't acknowledge discrepancy. Ugh, that sucks. That means like higher tax liability for you. Man. Deck P, Apple, HW Apple rumors that blood sugar sensor next gen watch is no labs involved. We asked Ron about this, and I think he said no, that that he's not involved in that. But he did say he looked at the patents they have and was like, they're not going to be very good. So my guess is they're doing optical, which is what other folks have been trying to do. And optical works great for white people, terrible for everyone else. So if you are not a pasty white person, you're not going to be able to get the measurements you need. So if you are Black, Asian, Indigenous, South Asian, whatever, like it won't see it. And so you just eliminate a whole bunch of people and get use out of that. It's like a lot of the companies that do like facial recognition stuff. They test it all on white people, and then a black person comes along and the computer's like, I don't recognize a human being. So there's a lot of bias built into the manufacturing of these things. Oh, buddy. It's okay, dude. You're good. I was gonna say he's getting better, and all of a sudden he's doing his little wheezy wheezes again. Ah, kitty. Jeannie, if people are certain on things, why do they need to tell anybody? Wouldn't they all want to keep it for themselves? Why do they care so much about me? Never been this cared for in my life. The shills, they just care. They care about you. / they want to laugh at you. Will, just playing devil's advocate here. The internet is filled with people that have nothing better to do but to hate on others as a form of entertainment. Why would this play be any different? Because like, what's the point of hating on someone if you could hate on someone and make money, right? If I can make money being a hater, I'll make money being a hater. Like, why would I do it for free? It's just like my entertainment expense, especially if and when it blows back at my face. I have to delete my internet history or something. I spent so much time being a piece of shit for free, and all of a sudden I'm wrong. Oh, that would suck. Ah, dang it. Come on. Done. So your Shadem's out. See you, buddy. Have a good day. Muni Mashunga, is Rad Q worth a shot? You can go for it if you want. I don't have any money to go for it. I don't get paid until Monday. And with the way GME prices are dropping, if nothing happens between now and Monday and prices are still down, I am buying GME when I get paid on Monday. So that's where I'm throwing that sucker. Get as close to my 1,000 share goal as possible. Muni Mashunga, I went all in on Toys RF. Got 350,000, 600,000. That's a lot. Holy smokes. It was on the beginning of the live, but MOAS will last at least a few months. So if you're DRS, don't worry. I don't know if it'll last a few months, MOAS. I'd say 2 weeks, maybe. When those trading computers take over, the price is going to fly, and I think it's going to go to such crazy heights. Even people who are like, I'm never selling, will go, oh, look all those commas in their account, and a lot of them are going to go, sell. Talk is cheap. Whiskey costs money. Was that what Ryan Cohen said? U of H, I'm all in on Horizon HRZN, although I'm going to sell it once it's $13 again and rebuy when it's 11. HRZN, which one's HRZN? Horizon Technology Finance Corp. It's at $12. Got the $12.30 today. 13 dropped all the way down to, so it was at 13 in August, dropped to 11 a couple weeks ago, and it's climbed back towards 13 again. Looks like it likes to go 13 to 11, 13 to 11, 13 to 11, 13 to 11 all year long. Last 5 years, they had a peak in 2021 at 17, and in 2020 they had dropped all the way down to 7. But yeah, 1311, 1311, 1311. Whoops, that's not. Like 1311, 1311, 1311. That's what they do. Word. Noted. Bounce around play. Raven, I got a Webull CS to admit if anything comes out of the merger acquisition, they will comply with the DTC SEC. Basically said they're just twiddling their thumbs until then. Okay. So there you go, Raven. So everyone else needs to call them and talk to a compliance officer and get them to say those exact same things. Promise you shares if there's a distribution. It's a boring dividend stock, but I'm all for boring at this point. Get it while you can. Tia Futavong. Oh man, still unable to buy. Yeah, no one can buy Bed Bath or BBBYQ. No longer Bed Bath. It's Butterfly. No one can buy Butterfly. And we need a filing to come out, or at least a letter to the DTCC saying, hey, trade that sucker again or something. From zero to hero. Yep. There's the reset. I got 9 minutes, folks. 9 minutes left on the show. So if you really need me to answer a question, you got to make it colorful. Okay. Antonio Baez, they don't want you working from home anymore. They want you to go out 5-6 days a week to spend money on the economy. It's true. Like, if you're at home, right? And maybe you're door dashing things or whatever, but the likelihood of you ordering lunch, not that great. The likelihood of you walking by a store and going, you know what, I'm going to buy that thing, not that great. They want you spending money to commute. They want you at the office. They want you spending money buying lunch at noon every day. They want downtowns to be vibrant again. I don't think it's such a bad thing to want downtowns to be vibrant again, because I'm a social person. The whole reason I help out my friend's restaurant is I like people. And that, hey, it's money. I work like 12 hours a week at the restaurant, but I get to see people and say hello. And it's I get some social interaction from the chats and from answering your questions and emails and everything else that I get all day. But I also need human contact every once in a while and to get out there and do things. So it's a great way to do that. I'm an extrovert. I'm not the type who wants to spend all their time working at home. I like to go out in the world and have an excuse to leave the house and to see people. So it's great for introverts. It's fantastic for people that were facing discrimination in the workplace. I read a stat that showed something like African-American office workers, that 95% of them said they would quit their job if they were forced to go back to the office, which is way higher than any other demographic, because if they're working from home, they don't have to deal with petty bullshit and racist crap and weird biases that they get every day. They can just work from home and do their job, and they don't have to think about their crappy office workers being pieces of shit to them on purpose or by accident, right? So I totally get that. I am a white male. I don't get that crap. So people are like, oh, another white male in the office. Ugh. I don't get that outwardly, even passive racism that other folks would get. So I totally understand. I wouldn't want to go in the back of the office if that was the case, right? So I get it. I say let people work where they want to work. Yeah, office prices are going to crash because a lot of businesses are like, you know what? We don't have to pay the lease on this anymore. 90% of our workforce, they're doing it from home. There's some people have to come in. Cool, we're going to pay for 10% of what we were paying for before. And we're going to have more money to pass on to our executives and shareholders and everything else. So it's going to come from all sides. Mini Mishunga, this tomorrow is driving me insane. I can't plan. Yep. Twiddle those thumbs, buddy. That's currently what you can do. You can daydream, twiddle thumbs. What will happen if it happens? Otherwise, this is what you do. Twiddle thumbs. Daphne says, I actually think it will be tomorrow, this time, or Wednesday. Let's hope, man. Lone Wolf, theaters are tied to malls. How can they buy that? Well, oftentimes, if malls are looking for an anchor tenant, they will sell the parcel to the anchor tenant because it raises the ability of them renting to others and locks those people in. So, a lot of like the mall that we have near me, the Kitsap Mall, Sears owned the building that owned their portion, where their store was. That was physically owned by Sears, like a condo. Like you have apartments, and you have condos in the same building, whatever. So they owned theirs, and it's one of those things that got sold off. And someone weird is in there now. It's like, who is in it? I can't remember. It was one by there. I was like, that's the weirdest freaking place to be in a Sears. All right, and I gotta Google Earth, go to Kitsap, go to Silverdale, look at the mall. Turn this thing north. It is now. The Sears is now. Oh, Winco moved in there. So they're now the employee-owned grocery store. So Winco's in the Sears. So, oops. This is the mall in my county. So Winco is where Sears was. Macy's is still Macy's. JCPenney? I thought JCPenney became like Borders or something. I don't know if that didn't exist anymore. This, I believe, is like Big Lots or Kohl's or something. What are they now? Kohl's. It's Kohl's. Okay. Oh, that's Barnes & Noble. JCPenney's is still there? Huh. I didn't know JCPenney's existed. Dick's Sporting Goods moved into one of the big ones, too. This was like Lamont's or something. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So that's our mall. It's not a very big mall, but it is what it is. There's our AMC theater, which they probably rent. Yeah. So there you go. This is our shopping area. It's all parking. Look at that. Look at all that parking. It is so empty. There's no cars in this lot at all. Your Michaels, your TJ Maxx, and your Ross, and REI. Got the little second mini mall over here with a couple other things. It's just an incredible amount of parking required to have your like mall section of town. Joann's Fabrics. And then up here, you got your big box, Lowe's, Costco, Best Buy. I think it's like Ashley Home Furnishing is there. Look at it's just the amount of parking is insane. That's the thing that blows my mind is you do not see this in Europe. You just do not see parking lots like this in Europe, and it's bonkers that we have it here. It's culture shock. If you go travel abroad, you'd be like, huh, where's everyone park their cars? People are like, cars? I take the tube or the metro. They can just leave them all and build their own theater. That threat alone is enough to leverage to force a sale of the theater to them if they want. Bingo, BTW. Ruler Zod, my brain is literally fried from hopium. Daphne, I screenshot that prediction as I've never predicted before. Well, there you go. All right. Len Hernandez, that shirt makes me want to go to New Orleans and make a bad decision. Treats for Monkey Butt, please, and thank you. She got her trees. She got her treats. Rest in peace for my coordinates. Did your coordinates not show up there, BFH? Sometimes they don't show up, and I don't know why. Kentucky mentioned. Okay, I can do one more, and I got to run. Daphne, what about canned sardines? My brother eats those all the time. Canned sardines are high in arsenic, and recently Joe Rogan got arsenic poisoning because he eats like 3 cans of sardines a day. So Moderation, Daphne. Moderation in everything. Like, yeah, maybe have your canned sardines once a week, not every day. Don't eat tuna fish every day. Don't want to get mercury poisoning. Just don't give yourself heavy metal poisoning if you can avoid it. I know salty things are delicious, but avoid the metal poisoning if you can. All right. On that note, I gotta go. I have to go to the post office and pick up. This person sent me something at the post office, so I gotta pick that up. Anyway, how about this one to exit on? Schwink.
Houston, we have a problem.
Little fat guy. She's a sad little fat guy. Oh, give him pets.